Hey, what's up, everybody? Gene Fetty with the Automotive Appearance Institute back at you with another episode of our All Access podcast. This is number 25. We are a quarter of the way to 100 episodes. Super excited to be back at you for another week. Running solo today. I was actually out of town all week in Boston doing some training. And had a crazy busy Friday when I got back. So Dylan is not working Sunday night, but I am here to make sure that you get your show first thing 7 a.m. Eastern Monday morning. I'm here Sunday night. Anyways, so this week's episode is like, I didn't know it could do that. And that's why you need more training. I want to talk specifically this episode. I want to talk about glue pull training, but really, and not just because I'm promoting our level up training, mine and Jean's at the end of the month, but because training in general, right? I believe if you're going to be a high level technician, somebody who wants to continue to get better, you need to pursue other avenues of knowledge, right? You can't just, I guess you can just learn on your own through trial and error, but that is not the fastest way to go. So let me give you a little backstory on where I was. So I have a customer in Boston, or in the Boston market, that I think he has 4 shops, three full body shops, with a 4th one coming online very soon. Not quite a year ago. Well, actually, rewind from there. They wanted to sign on to be a Rivian shop. So part of being a Rivian approved body shop is you need glue pull, and maybe even specifically Kiko. I know that I personally was with Kiko a lot at Rivian, and Kiko and Rivian have a good relationship. So it may be that you need a Kiko system, but certainly you need a full-on collision glue pull system to be a certified Rivian shop. Well, through content here on AAI, not the podcast at this point or at that point, but through content here and being out at trade shows, I sort of made it on the radar of a company that does recruiting for body shops. And then in turn, like I started following him, and then this body shop showed up as like suggested, like somebody to follow, somebody to engage with. And Steven, the guy who owns the company, the shop, I really liked his philosophy. I liked a lot about what he was talking about. So I sort of reached out and said, hey, really like what you're doing. Love the messaging you're bringing out to techs. And we started an online conversation, really. And then talked to his recruiter at a trade show, so on and so forth. Steven comes into my world, right? Steven comes into AAI, and he's like, hey, here's what we've got. We've got a few shops. I've got a Kiko system, but honestly, my guys don't use it. We bought it because we have to be with Rivian, and right, it's just been collecting dust. Can we do some training? Can we get some more kits? So on and so forth. And I worked with them and got them some more systems. But more importantly, went up and did a couple of days training. Now, this is a good argument for our online training, right? Like the GPR masterclass versus in person. Now, to see what glue pull can do, to understand how well it works, to see how simple it is to do, in person is fantastic. But there's an inherent problem with that in-person training. And that is that we are typically there for one day, whether it's a training I'm doing through AAI, or, you have a trainer coming out with Kiko like Danny Hacker or Mike Mack or Dave Datlaff or any of the trainers, right? They show up and they're in for a day. And now Kiko does do 2, 3, and 5 days, but neither here nor there. We show up, you show them, and even like, I love those trainings. And I love watching like some of the, like I call them the crotchety old body guys. No offense, crotchety old body guys, but like sort of the guy that's sitting in the back of the room and like, well, this isn't going to work. It's not strong. I know what I'm doing. You're not going to show me something new. Those are always my favorite guys to have in a class. They're still my favorite guys to have in a class. I find it to be a bit of a challenge, or not a challenge hard, but like a challenge fun. I like to show them what it can do. So anyways, we go up, good shop, lots of young techs. Actually, they carried a pretty young um, demographic in the shop with a couple older guys. But anyways, we jump in, we start doing some heavy pulls, we start showing them how simple it is, and the shop is excited by the end of the class. Next day, I go to another shop. He brings his other guys in, full day. We make it through a ton of stuff, lots of great pulls. Everybody's pumped up and excited at the end. And then, right, we take off. And really, you could plug this scenario into a lot of the trainings, right? We're in, we get everybody pumped up, and then we go. It's just that's what a one or two person or one or 2 day in-person event is. Like in, boom, gone. Which, side note, part of that is why we created the masterclass. One, and this is not a sales pitch for the masterclass. This is more of a like, I want you to be aware that you need training. But I ended up hearing a lot of feedback that, hey, you were here for a day. It was great. We learned this, we learned that. Man, I forget this, I forget that. How did you do this? What did you say there? Right. That's where the masterclass loads right up on your phone. And it's now a resource in your bay, right? Log in right here. Boom. How did we do this? What were these temperatures? What did that tool look like? How did we fix that repair? Right. It's all there for you to have. So same thing, right? Both shops stoked. We leave, sort of do a follow up with Steven, the owner. Everything was great. The guys love it. They're having success. Fast forward, I don't know, it was late 24, maybe November, December. And Steven reaches out and he says, hey, I've got a handful of my techs, maybe like 6 or 7 that are like, they're hot on the glue pull, but I know they can be doing more with it. I know they're not using it to their maximum ability. Well, Steven, let's see what we can do, right? So he said, hey, I would like to go a little bit more intense. Instead of 1 day, can we do 2 days? And then instead of the whole big group, 8 guys in the shot or 8 guys in the class, can we break it down and do 3 or 4 guys and then do the same 2 days again with 3 or 4 more guys? Really, so we can get deep and get good knowledge and, more importantly, like good hands-on and good repetitive training with these guys. Like, Steven, you're speaking my language, dude. I think that's a fantastic idea. So we set it up to come up for the week or for 4 days, right? Monday through Thursday, and train. It was 3 guys for 2 days and then 4 guys for the next 2 days. So a total of 7 techs. Got a beater car, something we could create damage on. We could get in and do real world. We go up for the training, or I go up for the training. They're there already. Walk in and sort of like the syllabus, like what we're going to walk through is like, first, let's start with what are you guys struggling with? What's not working? What is working? What are you seeing? What's holding you back? Then some new tools, right? Lateral tension wasn't what it was, isn't whatever. Last year, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is this year. And the way that it has unlocked repairability is unreal. So anyways, I said, hey, we'll go into that. We'll start doing some larger, more complex repairs, show you a little bit more production, right? Instead of just education, exactly how to, like more real world and how it does work and what it takes to make it happen. I always liken the first day of glue pull, like the original 1 day glue pull training is like driver's ed. And I'm going to give you all of the rules, exactly what to do. It's very repeatable. And if you follow all of the steps, much like if you follow all of the steps in driver's ed, if you have an accident, it's not going to be your fault, right? Something else went wrong. Same idea. If you get a bad pull, it's not working, you know that you broke one of the rules. These 2 days, more real world, more how would I attack it? Let's go after it. So the first group of guys is the younger technicians, right? They call it 21 to 35, right? Young bucks. Those are definitely young bucks in the auto body world. And we come in And now, mind you, I personally did this training, right? All of these guys that have gone through training, I did their training, uh, left them with the knowledge to do it. So we came in and we start talking, and the first problems they're having are these little tabs don't stick. Now, that's like one of my favorite things to hear, right? Because I always get like my dad joke, bad joke or jabs in when we start pulling and we're following the steps, right? Following Kiko's 6Cs. We're following the steps, and these tabs won't let go until you rip them off or hose them down with alcohol, right? It works every single time. You pull with a slide hammer, it hooks up, it pulls a big high. So instantly, right, we spend a little bit of time walking through, start going back over cleaning and temperature, and I've got these guys ripping high spots into a panel immediately, right? Call it hour one. They all go, or they all come back, and they're like, man, I guess I was doing that wrong. I remember you talking about those temperatures. So I remember having to flash off. And they had some retention, right? They were even like, well, I think maybe it's temperature. I know I have to heat it up this way. I know I need to do this. But they weren't going back and checking themselves, right? And they were getting bad pulls and then frustrated. And then they throw the glue pull stuff to the side, grind it down and go to their stud welder and pull again. So that's like evidence one that, man, the retention just wasn't there. They just didn't buy in, right? They didn't pay attention, or, right, it's not like they're glue pulling necessarily every day. It's just not second nature to them. We move forward from there, right? So for the first thing we do is sort of like go over and explain, here's where you're going wrong, right? And we started to right that ship. Then we get into some heavy pulls. In fact, I pulled out Keith from Black Plague. We pulled out some of his tension straps and his new Porta Power hooks. And man, I jumped on this door and created that. I call it like an egg-shaped crown or an egg-shaped high. So if you get a sharp dent, like through a body line that's next to a concave, it's that egg-shaped crown buckle that goes up into there that just does not want to move. Like it is just locked up. It's crazy. It's just not going to happen. And like borderline folded the door in on itself. Certainly throwaway door, but we want to show the power of it. So we set up those straps. We set up that Porta Power. We start pulling. And even before we start pulling, all the guys are like, man, that crown's not going to move. There's no way this metal moves. You're sort of dead in the water. And we start pulling and that crown starts going in. And then we're holding some tension out and they're starting to work that down. And you could see the look of, man, I can't believe we're going to spend this 2 days doing this. And this guy showed us stuff a year ago and I'm not sure it works. Two, just like the title of the episode, I didn't know it could do that. I didn't realize this was this strong. I can't believe these straps are pulling on that metal and unfolding. And now this metal that I know for sure isn't going to move is already lessening on its own. And as we're coming in with a knockdown, it's just laying down and wants to smooth out. Applied a little bit of outward pressure combined with the lateral tension. And in, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, with talking and discussing, we took this door that all of them 15 or 20 minutes prior were like, there's no way it's not going to move. You can't do it. We took that door too. They were all saying, man, we could repair this. I think we could fix this. If we had to, if it made sense, we could fix it. I guess it comes back to like that you don't know what you don't know, right? And had these techs taken the initiative to go and study and look more online and pursue, they would have figured it out. But they didn't. They just went back to their old ways and kept doing things the way they used to do. Their owner, the boss, saw enough in them and saw enough in us to have us come in and do that training, to invest in them and fast forward that, right? Fast forward that learning curve back to where it should be. So we did that huge pull. And then I wanted to show them some more real world stuff, right? More real life. And we went to the bottom of the door and I jumped on it and put call it a much softer dent just through a body line. Took the K power with some tab straps, glued that bad boy on. Now here is where I gave them that, I call it like the Instagram pop, right? Where you put the straps on and you start pulling and pops the dent up, or at least pops the big part of the low up, showing them a combination of those two moves. Like you just watched all the light bulbs turn on in their heads and they were like, oh my gosh, I get it. I understand what's going on. So from there, I think we broke for lunch and we came back, and now it was time for them to put it in the real world, right? So we went in and I smashed the fender on this, was a RAV4, smashed the fender on the RAV4. We're talking like 20, 22 inch crush. And we made him work it like it was a quarter panel, right? I didn't let him pull the liner down and shove, or, where we would, PDR techs would go in with push tools, right? We made him do it all with glue. By just taking what they applied in the morning, coming in the afternoon, working through, following the process, these guys worked, call it as a team, and had this thing up to a repairable level. We go air quotes, repairable in a body shop. Certainly for a PDR tech, up to a level where we're coming in with push tools to finish it off, like in no time, with little instruction. They worked through it. Then I got to show them a little bit more production speed, how I would come in and clean all of that up, make a huge difference, which takes us into day two. And we start to refine them, right? So body techs, right? You all are out there and you're working with your hands and you're feeling panels. None of them in the class were regularly using a PDR light. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So we spent another half a day, instead of working on that big smash body shops type stuff, I brought them in and we started working on refined damage and taking small damage and finishing it to a high level. Now, not PDR. You don't learn PDR in a day or a week, but PDR style damage, PDR style finishes is what we spent the whole half day on. So funny story inside of here. While I've got the guys working on the hood and explaining the light, and they're all broken up individuals working on their repairs, I turn around and I hear this boom, and I look over and the car's shaking back and forth, and we're all like, what was that? And Steven, the owner, was there, and he's like, hey man, I want to see what these guys can do. He's like, here's their final test for the day. And dude, he took his foot and planted it square in the quarter panel on his poor RAV4. Now, not a customer car, not a rental car. It was like an abandoned car they had that they own, just so nobody gets upset. But man, he blasted this thing. We're talking quarter panel replacement all day at a body shop. He even blew the paint open. He didn't look beforehand, and the panel had been refinished. But man, he just blew the paint open. So we're looking at this, and I'm like, I'm glad you did that to your car, not me. But anyways, so we go back, and I guess now, right, we're changing our syllabus around a little bit, and these guys are going to go after fixing the quarter panel on this car to get it to a body shop repairable level, or had the paint stayed together. Like when I say that, if you're a PDR tech and you're listening, don't fall off. When I'm saying like a repairable level, that's where we would switch from glue to push tools, or if you don't have any access, you would continue to just refine and pull with your glue pulling tools. But right, like we're working this. When we let the body shop tap out, we're at a very shallow level where they would come in with glaze, right? We would come in with push tools or continue to pull more to paintless. So don't skip out. So anyways, we get the guys dialed in. It is amazing to me still right? So when we do that 1-day training, I always finish with we call it door ding or hail dent to blockable. So small dent to very close to PDR, right? And it's really pretty easy to do, or at least it's pretty easy to demo, and the steps are very easy to follow. And then with some practice, you can get there. But that 1 day is always like show and tell, right? I'm showing them what to do. I'm showing you what to do, and then I expect you to go practice. This training, this advanced glute pull training, we're spending that half a day with the technicians, and they are hands-on, and they are actually pulling the damage, knocking down those precision high spots, working instead of just with like the black swan, working to regular PDR style tools or PDR knockdowns, tap downs, moving their own light around. And these guys are finishing like as a old school PDR tech, because I guess I'm an old guy now. But as an old school PDR tech, to see what these guys can do, call it like after lesson 1, right, with where you're over the shoulder, where they're taking legitimate 1.5 or 2 inch dents to a near PDR level, like on morning 1, is unbelievable. Coming from like, that took me a month or better to figure out back in my push tool days, and maybe even longer than a month to get at this quality. Like it just, shout out to the way technology has moved, evolved. The lighting is better. The knockdowns are better. The glue pulling is like, it's not even the same thing that it was 22 years ago when I started. Like, it's a whole different world. So then to wrap up these guys, sorry, to get back on track, to wrap up with these guys, we go back to that quarter panel that the owner just annihilated after lunch. So then I put them together as a team, and I want them to work through getting it all out. And I just step back to be the coach, right? I tell them, pretend this is tomorrow and this rolled into your bay and you've got your glue pull kit. Let's see what you can do. And if all three of you got to work together, and man, they go to town. They do a great job. We've got on this particular one, we're pulling some lateral tension, outward tension. We're pulling 3 and 4 tabs at a time, working crowns, getting metal flowing in all kinds of areas. Really watching these guys that 36 hours beforehand, maybe like 30 hours beforehand, they walked in and they were like, I don't know, these tabs don't really stick that good. I get frustrated. I've done a couple of this with that. Now watching them work together. Hey, you go grab this here, hit here. All right, hold some tension while I do this. It's watching all those light bulbs go off in just a couple of hours, 2-3 hours. I don't remember the exact time. They get that too. Again, a glazable level, right? Very high level body repair. If the paint stayed together, very pushable for a PDR tech. And what really strikes me, and I've only got to see this a few times in my one-day trainings over the years, but I think it's something as we start to add more of these multi-day advanced trainings, I think we're going to see it more. We sort of like go back and look at the game footage, right? Go back and look at the tapes. And we start talking through it and discuss what it would look like if they didn't have glue pull. How would they have attacked it versus how they did attack it, time frames here and there. They all agreed that, again, I say day 1, but like call it lesson 1 or lesson 2, like in this little glue pull session, they all sat back and they were like, this, like, thinking through it, this really is about how long it would take us to get it to a glazable level the old way. Well, as a trainer, right, that's pretty cool to watch your students learn that quick. 2, as a proponent for glue pull repair and better, less invasive repairs, it's exciting to see that because education has come so far, because tooling has come so far, because of things like lateral tension and innovation, and when this one fresh lesson of glue pull for these guys, They're already able to work as efficiently as they were the old way that they've done their whole career. That's amazing. To have a new tool set, like if you're a technician and in 16 hours, I can teach you a way to make better repairs, better for the car, better for your body, right? Because you're not slamming a huge slide hammer with pins. Bam, bam. You're not, they all want to like get behind the panel and shove and beat it with a hammer. You're not stretching out and swinging a hammer or trying to hold it dolly in and swing this way and make all this noise and bang and clang and beating your body up. You're not filling this huge area full of filler and then sanding all that dust and all the vibrations through your hands and making a huge mess, right? In 16 hours, I can take a lot of that abuse of your body away. We can take a lot less dust out of the air, right? Make your job healthier. And honestly, it's more fun. And they were all in agreement. I've never been a body man, but they were all in agreement that it's much more fun to work metal than it is to sand some sort of filler or glaze, right? So we're making better, safer, longer lasting repairs, right? And on day one, they're just as efficient as they were before, or whatever. On hour 16, they're as efficient as they were before. So I promise you, in time, the new way is not just better, it's going to be faster repairs. Like this stuff gets, if you can't hear my voice getting fired up, me getting fired up, man, I love how this stuff gets things going. So, right, that was a wrap for the first class, right? First 2-day class. That's the first guys, the young bucks. Boom, they're out. So I talked to Steven at the end of the day, and he's like, hey, we're sending in the old guys tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, here we go. The freaking crotchety old guys. Well, I was wrong. It wasn't the crotchety old guys. 2, I think I'm an old guy now, right? Actually, like I was the youngest guy by a year in the second class, but we were all like real close to the same age. So I guess maybe I'm gonna have to hand my young buck card in pretty soon, in case the gray hair hasn't given it away. Anyways, he goes, listen, I'm sending my old guys. He's like, but these aren't the crotchety old guys. These are like the like serious old school A-techs, like the biggest producers. These are the guys that are coming in the next day. So, right, we go into session 2, day 3. And they come in, and I recognize a couple of guys. The one guy, his son was the youngest guy in the other class. But anyways, recognize a couple of the guys. They were in, like in the training that we did 9 months ago or 10 months ago, whatever it was. And I got one new guy. And so I say, hey, we're sitting down, we're having bagels and coffee, and we start going through the like, hey, what's working, what's not working. All 3 of them go, hey, listen, man, I'm a production guy. We're flat rate here. I'm really good at the old way I do this. I don't think I'm going to be using this stuff, but I got to be here. Like that was the attitude. Man, I almost like, part of me's like, oh, geez, like, how are we going to deliver here? And then there's another part of me that's like, where's the crotchety old guy that I can impress really quickly and get him on my side? And I'm like, well, at least these guys are high level and producers and they want to go, right? Like, so I'm going to lean into it. I'm always up for a challenge to like turn heads. So start talking to these guys, and they're not so much having like the technical, I can't get it to stick problems. They're having the like, it's not my card. It's in another part of the shop. I've used it a few times. The one guy who had not gone through my training, but went through another company's training, was like, it was like a few hours, but he's like, it was more of a sales pitch than anything. And like, hey, look what we can do. But they didn't show us anything. Real naysayer right in the beginning. Not like none of these guys are negative naysayers. They're just kind of like, maybe let's call them non-believers. Like they haven't been converted fully yet. They haven't drank the Kool-Aid or the Powerade or Body Armor or whatever this is. So I'm like, all right. So we talked about some of the things that could make it easier for them to work at the shop, some different approaches to organizing the cart, how to lay tools out, maybe even some tools they could get themselves so they're not relying on the shop cart, but they want to work with their own gear, right? Understandable. These guys are like, these are the guys who are like, well, the shop has that, but I don't want to rely on the shop, so I just bought my own, right? Like, they've got the huge Snap-on toolbox in the back full of any and everything they'll ever need. So we jump in. We go through that. We jump into that caved-in door, right? I'm like, man, I've got to go big with these guys right away and jump on the door even harder than I did on Monday. And the buckle that it created above the body line, like it wasn't just an egg-shaped crown. This thing was like an egg-shaped crown that like somebody got behind and hit with a freaking spike and made it so sharp and the paint just curled away. I mean, like, I'm looking at this and in my head I'm going, there's no freaking way that I'm going to pull this and this high spot's even going to move. Like, man, these guys are busting my balls and I just set myself up to get my balls busted bad. Like I'm sweating it a little bit, but I sort of preface, I'm like, listen, man, fat guy got a little carried away here. Let's see how this is going to move. And they're all in agreement. They're like, there's no way then it's not even going to move. It's not, they're more of a belief that the thing's not going to move than the first class. And those guys were like, man, that ain't moving. So follow that same tried and true process, glue those straps on, follow all the steps, make sure my temperatures are right, get that porta power going. And Keith, if you listen, dude, thank you for making those hooks for the porta power. Thank you for making those straps. You saved my butt on this one. Anyway, so we start working and working and working. And so if you can picture the strap and the hooks, you have to be on like one side of the strap. So we start this and I say, hey, I need you to be able to knock down this high spot. So we're gonna go on the low side. And then once that moves up and we get the crown down a little bit, we're gonna let the pressure off, flip it around, like calling it play by play, how I think it's gonna go. It went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. But good, not bad. But I mean, the moves went the same way. So we start pulling. Instant, these old guys who are like, I don't think I'm going to do this. I don't think. We start moving that door. Their jaws hit the floor and they're like, dude, did you see that? How does that move? I can't, bam, it's awesome. So we start bringing it up, hitting power. The biggest naysayer guy, the guy who had not been through a full Gene Fetty training, he starts, I'm like, here, dude, here's your knockdown. Here, start knocking on this high spot. And that wicked crown, wicked hard, since we were in Boston, it was a wicked hard crown. He starts hitting that thing, and dude, it is just walking out like butter, showing exactly how all these new glue pull techniques, which is actually way old school body techniques, way old school metal techniques, but new school glue pull techniques. We start working that thing out, and this metal is just moving like butter. And instantly you could feel like the energy in the room change. And these guys are like, what? No way. This is incredible. Start moving that up, pull harder, flip it around the other way, add some outward tension. And they're all like, man, we could fix this door like in no time. Now, this door was a goner. There's no way. And they're looking at it and they're like, hey, if we could do this, or if we could do, like, they walk through, they could see it exactly what happened. It's like again, back to the title of the episode. I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know this was this strong. Well, of course, because you don't know. Well, you don't know. That's why you invest in more training. That's why you invest in advanced training. That's why you learn to get better at your skill, be it body tech, PDR tech, detailer. I don't care what you're doing. Invest in good training with good trainers, good companies, and level up your skills, like move up the ladder of skills. So we move through that. And now it's like proud of my old guys here. We move through that, and that's more like not actual repair. That's just showing off what we can do, like taking glute pull repair to the extremes. Do that same lateral tension pull and pop for them with the K power. Come after lunch, and I'd sort of show them what the first class did, like, and it's always good to get the old bucks versus the young bucks mentality. Like a little bit of competition is healthy. So I show them the fender. They already saw the quarter panel. And really, Steven, the owner, was raving about the quarter panel when he came in the next day and saw how well they fixed it. But anyways, we come back after lunch, and I give them an even bigger, deeper, harder fender shot than I gave the first guys. Now, mind you, I would say all of the techs in the classes were A techs. This second group is like veteran A techs. They've learned how to work a little smarter and a little bit faster than the young buck who just wants to go, 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 right? And if you're not sure or haven't heard the story about the old bull and young bulls and old bulls are two different kinds of people. These guys are the old bulls. So they come in and, man, they take me from sweating it in the morning, right? Like, can I keep these guys happy and engaged? Come back in the afternoon. We work through that fender that was worse than the previous class's fender. These guys blow it out in no time, right? They understand how to work faster. They're working cleaner. They're making moves. They're making better decisions. I had to add 2 or 3 extra lessons into day one to keep these old guys, air quotes, also old guy here, air quotes, that were disinterested, do not want to change. They don't want to hear about it. Like, we come back after lunch and they're like, we have this and this. What can we do here? And, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that with it. Right. Introduced them to a little bit of cold glue. Showed them production, showed them how to move even faster. These guys were stoked. I mean, like, the light bulb, I don't think they could wait to come back to class the next morning, right? So that afternoon, to wrap up, I'm like, all right, guys, we're going to give you a little head start since you're working so well, but I'm going to challenge you more. Like, we saw what Steven did to the passenger quarter on the RAV. I got to give you something harder, right? Like, as a fellow old guy, we can't let these young bucks show us up. And you're the more production guys in the shop. You don't want those young bucks passing you up, right? So we go over to the driver's side, which is the gas door side. And Doug, one of the writers, is there now. And we start talking, and we're looking for, like, what can we do that's hard? I don't want to do another fender because they just, like, schooled the fender. Doors just aren't that exciting, really. And I don't want to R&I the glass because I don't want to kick it hard enough to make it exciting and then, like, blow the window out of this car. Like, that could be bad. So we go to the quarter, and Doug's a pretty big dude, size 12 shoes, probably 6 feet tall. And we're like, all right, we're challenging. Like, the guys are sort of challenging. So what if we go through the bottom of the wheel well? And right, we get into that wheelhouse a little bit. Or what if we go here, and if we can hit it hard enough, man, we get that door jam to open up. That's what we decided on. So we're like, all right, Doug, here you go. Hit it right here, and we're going to see if we can't get that door gap to open up. So Doug goes full send and smashes the quarter panel, opened up this door gap probably close to a half an inch. I mean, dude, he rolled it wide open. We were all kind of like, whew, okay, no softballs here, no gimmies here at all. Like, so then they got to spend some time talking estimating and how they'd write it, which is like a great extra bonus for the class. Side note, I don't have a pen on my table. Learned this lesson in PDR a long time ago. Same lesson holds true in auto body. You cannot out-earn your pen. If you can write proper estimates, you will make more money faster with a pen than you can with any other tool in the box. You can have all the glue pull stuff in the world, every PDR tool, every push tool in the world, the best lights. You can have the best car aligners, the best Spinisi benches. None of that matters. The pen cannot write them all. Anyways, so we come back in the next day, get these guys on their small damage. They're doing great. Side note, old guys, go get your eyes checked. The Young Bucks did beat them a little bit on the light damage, I think just because they could see better. The readers were coming out. If you're going to do high-level work, right, high-level glue pull in collision, certainly if you're a PDR tech, go get your eyes checked. If you're an old guy like me, you might need readers now, right? I've been using them for about a year and a half. It's just a must-do. The Young Bucks beat them there, but they took and latched onto the principles the same way the young guys did. They were just as fired up, but they did get beat by the Young Bucks. But I think just because they couldn't see. Into the afternoon, these guys, they were like, in fact, they came in the morning, and the one guy's like, hey, man, I stopped and got straps. I got this. I was thinking about this last night. What if we go about it this way? Man, I was thinking about that last night. I was drinking my coffee this morning. This is how we're going to go about it. These guys, like the 24-hour swing from, man, I'm sort of set in my ways. This stuff's fast. I just like how it goes. To like they spent their off time in the evening and some of their coffee time in the morning thinking about how they're going to attack this with glue. Love it. Huge win for the instructor. Huge win for glue pull repair. It was amazing. So they come in and they're going back and forth on how to attack this. And do we do lateral tension? Do we just do outward tension? Do we do lateral and outward at the same time? What's the answer? They went straight outward, and then we had to use, side note, like they went straight out and then we used tension later in the repair. Shout out to Black Plague PDR tools, blackplaguepdr.com, deadrattabs.com. Dude, the yellow edge strap. We talked about it in the MTE hall. I think we may have mentioned it in the interview from MTE if that audio got saved. Anyways, the new edge straps. We glued this thing in a jam, door jam, and we did not have a full inch of glue touching. Like if you can picture it, it's two straps or one strap like folded over, but two edges, and like we sort of like call it duck build them out and glued to the edge. I did not think that it would be strong enough. Man, was I wrong. In fact, I sent Keith a picture and I'm like, dude, I don't know how this thing's holding. But anyways, go to blackplaguepdr.com and check out those edge straps. And I think they're cheap. Like super, super impressed with how that thing freaking pulled, dude. Wow. Anyways, in hindsight, had they done lateral and outward at the same time, I think they could have made a cleaner repair. But even still, same results as the day before. These guys were all like, in fact, I think they said faster than they would have done it traditionally and way less invasive because they were talking about conventional repair with like tack and pull plates in that jam to pull forward, and then you're burning the inside of that jam. Now that sits in between the gas store and the jam, so may or may not be able to get corrosion protection in there. Like you're destroying this car. They were like, I think it was faster. Honest to goodness, I think it was the faster way to fix the car. Again, they spent 16 hours with me. Like call it one drawn out class. And I already have the best producers in a shop working as efficient, at least as efficiently, if not more efficiently than their old school tried and true proven ways because of some extra advanced training. Right? Some more time, some deeper dives, right? And these guys the one guy's he's like 61. He's been doing it his whole life. Like 30 plus years, knocking on 40 years. If he started when he was 15, like a lot of the old school guys, like 45 years, if we can make differences in somebody who's been doing their job to a super high level for that long in 2 days, like if that's not evidence to invest in yourself and invest in great training, I just don't know what is. Like, man, this group had me fired up, and the roller coaster of emotions was a little exciting as a trainer, right? I always love a challenge, and man, it was great to watch the more seasoned technicians come in and really watch those light bulbs go off. So excited to see where they go with it. I think we'll be back up next quarter to do another training for them to get a few more of their guys in. But anyways, like, I tell you the story, one, because it was fun. Two, you need to be investing in yourself and more training. And I don't care. Well, I kind of care. I kind of care if it's with us or not with us, with AAI. But really, I care more that you are investing in yourself and you're getting better, right? So you can take online courses with us. We are available for in-person deep dives. If you are on the PDR side of things, I've got my fancy banners here, right? If you're in PDR, right? Mine and Jean's Level Up Advanced PDR training is, I think when I was on the website, it's 21 days away. The end of March, at the end of this month. Yes, it's March 2nd when I'm recording, March 3rd when you're listening, March 24th to 28th, right here in Pittsburgh. Now, if you just listened to this episode, you just heard what I can do with 2 days with body guys, right? And change their world. Imagine what 5 days with me and Jean Vidic, like that dude is, I'm friends with him, but I can't tell you that his birth certificate isn't like from another planet. Like I think him and Bryce came from some other planets and started doing this PDR stuff just to make us mere mortals, our little human brains think that it's possible. Anyways, somebody like Jean, 10-time PDR competition winner, like that's 10 first place. Go to his YouTube channel and check him out if you haven't seen him. Go look at how many times he's won. Like the dude's out of control. Imagine what you could learn as a PDR tech if you spent 5 days locked in a building. Well, not the whole time. We'll let you go out to dinner and like you can sleep in your hotel. But like 5 work days locked in the building with me and Jean working hands-on with you to improve your skills. Like, if I can change body guys in 2 days, I can change your world in 5, and you're getting Jean on top of that. Like, that's crazy. Or like Zan, if you live in the United States. Anyways, so to find out more about that training, autoappearanceinstitute.com/level up. Limited to 10 seats. Seats are selling. Once they're sold out, they're gone. Like, we're not opening it back up. Excuse me. Speaking of Black Plague, so check his tool out there. We also, now this is not one of my courses. This is a separate course. So it doesn't necessarily land in the $47 a month subscription. Haven't negotiated that with Keith yet. But we have brought back to the world Keith's PDR phone skills, his PDR sales skills, PDR phone skills sales course. If you are in the PDR business and you talk to a customer, period, in person or on the phone, and definitely if you talk to them on the phone, we have made his course available again on autoappearanceinstitute.com. Just go to the Learn tab and it will be in the course catalog. Keith's phone skills is back and available for just $127. This course has been required training for everybody in my business since this thing came out. It is an absolute gold mine of knowledge. In fact, when we did the podcast with Keith, a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever that was. We had been talking, and he was like, "Hey, man, let's bring it back to the world. Like, it's been asleep too long." So here it is. You can now get Keith's PDR phone skills course available, instant download, instant access as soon as you buy it, right here on AutoAppearanceInstitute.com. Go to the Learn tab. Speaking of Keith, all right, hold on. There's your ASMR for the show. For you audio people, that tap is me smacking on this big toolbox that I have on my lap. I have got the new, brand new, not even unpacked it yet for you video people, SB4. That is the new shrinky box from Keith. At Black Plague. Keep an eye out. We're going to be doing some videos for Keith, putting this thing to use this week. I will probably touch base on it on the next show. So more reason to listen to the next show. But anyways, we're going to do a product video for Keith, how to set it up, exactly how to use it, how to put it to work. And that will be in time, very soon, hopefully, available on Black Plague PDR for the how-to with the tool. But the course or the box is available now on blackplaguepdr.com. The easiest way I'd have found to find it is just go to the search box, type in S as in Sam, B as in boy, 4, the number 4, and it will pop right up. In talking to Keith, he's made some pretty cool advancements with it. It is trigger activated. It also comes in the box. None of these other ones come in a box. You got to like assemble your own kit. It comes with everything you need. Wire wheels for taking the paint off the back of the panel. Even comes with a copper bar to sneak up behind and inside of braces if you've got other places to shrink. If you haven't used a shrinky box before and you're doing any real PDR repairs, anything advanced, you need a shrinky box. I'm excited to use this and put it up against the Power PDR box that I've been using. Like, I was an early customer there. I've been using them for a long time. I'm excited for this. Also, if you want hands-on training with the shrinky box or the Power PDR box or both, I know where you could go get that. Can you guess? Do you know what I'm going to say? AutoAppearanceInstitute.com/level up. We will be dealing with stretched, nasty shots and exactly how to use these and fix them. Right? Little added bonus for you. Speaking of the Institute, the website, advanced or extra training, and everything like that, we announced this at, where did it go? There we go. We announced this at MTE. We have opened up our library, and as our personal library continues to grow, excludes Keith's PDR phone skills course and other subject matter experts courses until they decide to put it in. Sorry, I had to give you a little disclaimer there. Anyways, we have opened up our entire library for just $47 a month. You can go in and start taking all of our classes, right? That's available on the website, AutoAppearanceInstitute.com. Check it out today. But $47 a month, like, that's insane. If you're thinking about doing something like less than $50, if you can't make your money back on that, I don't want your money. I feel bad. I really would feel bad. Speaking of which, all things Auto Appearance Institute are on AutoAppearanceInstitute.com. You can follow us on socials across the board. Anywhere we post is at Auto Appearance Institute. That'll get you there. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Suck at LinkedIn. Need to get better at LinkedIn. Do any of you guys have a tip for getting better at LinkedIn? Anybody? DM me. DM us. If you're interested in any of our trainings, be it online, advanced with Jean, in person, one-on-one, if you're looking for any kind of training, we're here to help. Our email is admin@autoappearanceinstitute.com. or again, DM us in through any of the social channels. Coming up, I don't know if you can see, the desk looks a little different, right? I got a camera. I don't know how much you can see here, but we got some wiring back there. We've got switchers set up here. The lighting. We are getting ready to start doing more live streams, right? We did a couple of webinars to start the year. We did a glue pull webinar. We did a beginner's PDR webinar. Loved the live interaction. We're going to start doing live demos, live repairs from the shop. That's why we built this cart to be able to roll around and roll it up to things and do some demos, some live streams. What do you guys want to see inside of live streams? What is going to be something that brings you back and makes you watch over and over and over and over again? That's what we want to do. I think for now, we're going to be starting on YouTube and Facebook, I think through this StreamYard app thing. Still figuring out the nuances, but it's coming up. I want to know what you guys want to see on live streams. Tool reviews. We'll do tool reviews. Show you how tools work. We'll show you how tools work. I'm open to stream. Again, we're here to talk and teach you guys. So let us know what you want to see. Again, guys, it's filling up. AutoAppearanceInstitute.com/level up. That advanced training with myself and Jean at the end of the month, March 24th to 28th. All of the details are on that level up page. If you need training, I told you where to go there. Told you all things Auto Appearance Institute on the website. And of course, follow us on socials. Guys, thank you so much for listening. That is episode number 25 in the books, a quarter of the way to 100. Man, that it seems like we just started. I can't believe it's 25 episodes already. Super stoked for that. I will see you guys, or you will hear me, or I'll see you. I guess I really can't. All right, that's enough. We're gonna stop. So anyways, guys, that's the show. Trying to get these graphics dialed in. Anyways, that's the show. I will see you on the next episode. Thanks.